Welcome, everyone. I am frozen. I guess you're just gonna have to look at my frozen, crazy looking face. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Conversations with Coach Angie and Dr. Akmal. Am I sounding muffled to you?
No, you're not.
Okay, cool. Something was coming back to me. But anyway, welcome everyone. We have Dr. Akmal on with us to discuss summer health, healing, and balance of women's self-care. And those of you who have seen him before know that he is a wealth of information and just an amazing human being who is well versed in women's care, women's health care. So, without further ado, please welcome Dr. Akmal.
So again, I'd like to say good afternoon to your listening and viewing audience. Um, the thing that we look at or we should think about is the factor of the circadian rhythm. Because the circadian rhythm is what creates balance on Earth with our rotation in space. And so when you start to look at the factor of how that affects your body, think about the factor that here you go to someplace other than where you are. Okay. And let's say you take a jet. Well, what happens? What happens is that your rhythm gets off. So when your rhythm is off, then what it looks like is it looks like you have jet lag. But what that really is that your body's trying to catch up to the rhythm of where you are now from where you left. And so each season that rhythm changes. And when that rhythm changes, your body changes. The circadian rhythm has such an impact on your digestive system. And I'll talk about that kind of in a minute. But the factor is that the rhythm allows you to be able to create balance on the outside and the inside, or balance on the inside. Okay. Because what happens is the factor that now your whole being is articulating with the universe in which you build and come in contact with. It's deep. It's
Very
real.
deep.
You know, when we start to look at women in particular, you know, we look at the factor that circadian rhythm is in a vertex in such a way where it's moving around fluids. That's why a woman should have a monthly cycle, because that's the circadian rhythm. That sets your balance. When you don't have that, that's why a lot of people, women over 49 who are going through menopause as she pauses, that's because of the fact that the water, the fluids in a woman's body has now decreased. And because of that, now there's too much fire. And so, each season, a set of organs are at their peak. And these peak organs have to kind of govern where your body, your metabolism, where it is. Summer's a good time to increase your metabolism and taking food that's going to create balance, because this is the season of the digestion. Now, digestion as women plays a very major part of how the fluids are balanced more than men. And so when these fluids are not balanced, then what happens is that now you begin to have situations. So you should think about a few things. One of them is, where is your body balance? See, because if you find your body balance, then you would begin to find yourself not having situations in terms of your health as women. You should understand. You don't have to, but one of the things that you might want to understand is what your blood type is. Blood is a fluid, and as women, you use more of it than us men. So that counts for what kind of nutrients your body needs, not your sister, not your mama, grandmama, none of that. What your blood type says that you should be putting in is chemistry, because you're a chemist. Yeah, you're a chemist. And you're a chemist because of the fact that as a chemist, when your elbow bends and your mouth flies open, you're dealing with chemistry that's in the mouth, in the stomach, in the small intestines, and the large intestines, the bladder, and the kidneys, because of the job that they do within the compounds of your body. You use more body fluids than us men, even though we can sweat a lot, but you use more of them. That's hormones. So those are chemistries. That's like the B vitamin is one of the vitamins that women really need. B6 and a lot of times B12. What a complex. Yeah, you could get it out of foods like beets, but then there's another issue. How are you masticating that food? How are you chewing it? Are you chewing it and you swallowing it and it's it's a chunk, or is it a liquid bolus? Because of the factor that when you look at that, what are you looking? What you're looking at is the factor that you just dropped something into hydrochloric acid. Okay. And so when you talk about that, you talk about the fact that now that can cause other things to happen.
Now, when you say that can cause other things to happen, what do you mean?
For instance, that can cause acid reflux.
Okay, you're saying if we don't chew our food to liquid?
Precisely because of the factor that when you don't chew your food and it goes down and hits that hydrochloric acid, that hydrochloric acid has to figure out what to do with the starch. It more so breaks down protein before it goes into the small intestines. And so when it goes into the small intestine, digestion is your major healing tool. In
Mm-hmm.
programs, that's the first thing we do is correct your digestion, because correcting digestion, what that does is that now begins to get the body to take in more nutrients. So now that piece of food that was in the stomach goes into the small intestines undigested, because if it's starch and protein together, the starch could probably overlap because of the fact that it could be gelatinous, which means that it could be sticky, so it sticks onto it and not allow that protein to go through its process, and so it could wind up in the gut and continue to ferment and putrefy, and that's a lot of times, excuse me, a lot of times what we see with women when we see that their abdomen's protruding. So
Mm-hmm.
it is about it. One of the major pieces is about chewing food. And if you don't have all your teeth, then that's an issue.
Of course. So then we're talking juicing, right? We can juice some beets
Say that again.
and juicing.
Juicing. Yeah, I mean that's a form, one of the things is that I have people fasting every season. And so this is the season of the summer. So the summer represents the heart, small intestines, the pericardium, sanjiao. The sanjiao is the three burning spaces, which is the pelvis, the abdomen, and the chest. And then you have the spleen, the stomach, and the pancreas, and the lungs, the large intestines, and the kidney and the bladder. And so each one of those has a season. For instance, summer is the season of the liver and the gallbladder, where winter is the season of the kidneys. Yeah. So and those two are parallel, and things that you would do in this season uh, um, aids to what it is that you do, what happens to you in that season. That's like this is the season to put your vitamin D in, especially as women, and your B vitamins.
And that's interesting that you would say that because most people think because we get a lot of sun in the summer that we don't need the extra vitamin D.
We we need it. We need it because of the fact that it's going to protect us, and it's going to protect us in such a way as the fact that in traditional Chinese medicine, the kidneys, which are the foundation of life. And if you've tuned into me before, you've heard me say this, that the kidneys have to do with conception, gestation, pregnancy, maturity, aging, and death. And so the kidneys can bring us in and they can take us out. However, one of the major pieces of that is that it stores vitamin D, our stem cells, and our DNA in our bones. And so as it stimulates in the bones, that's where the vitamin D in the wintertime comes out to maintain the balance so that you don't become deficient. You see? So that's like in the wintertime, you wouldn't put in fats. You wouldn't put in a lot of fats. You might do a little black seed oil or something like that, but not a lot of fats. Why? Because the body's shutting down, especially if you live someplace where it's cold. The body is shutting down, and it's shutting down to the factor of where it not really susceptible for oils, and especially or any oil that clumps. So you'll find so most people, and women in particular, find that like in the time, and especially if you live in a cold climate, you find yourself gaining a few more pounds, and that's because of the fact that the digestive tract is slowed down. Your biggest defense for anything that's going on with you is your digestive system. And the first way to help, I assist women or and men in doing that is through fasting, and fasting to balance the organs. You know, because if you don't balance the digestive system, then whatever else you're trying to do doesn't work. You know, there's a lot of I'm assuming that the people who are some of the people that are listening understand what I'm saying because of the fact that they're using herbs and minerals and vitamins and that kind of thing. You know, you want to make sure that you have an understanding, and that's the other piece I want to talk about. You know, you have an understanding of what it is that you're taking and what it's doing to you in your body, and if it works. See, because unlike when I first started this in '74, when I first started this journey, you get locked up for talking about herbs. Okay, in this society, there's so many people pushing so much stuff over the internet.
Yeah, for sure.
And so if you can't, for instance, if you order something and you call and you can't talk to the people who you got it from, that's an issue. Okay, because you don't know what's in it. You know? Some of what that is could be causing you to have issues that you're having in your body. For instance, you could find yourself, for instance, if you eat a piece of chicken that has hormones, you find yourself having a personal summer, and depending on what the balance of the water level of your body is, depends on the factor of um, how your body will go through menstruation, menopause. Because of the fact of how the water and the fire are balanced in your body, and how your body either is taking in minerals and vitamins or not because of the foods that you eat. If we go back to our enslaved people of this land, what we would find, and that's the United States, what we would find is we would find that even though they ate the worst foods it was, they ate foods in seasons. And the majority of their deaths had to do with the stress of that life. So
So
that
let's get into the stress of that life because I
life,
know you've mentioned before that the stress goes straight to our digestive system,
no
straight to
question.
our liver, straight to our reproductive system. And can you talk more about that? Because there are a lot of women having reproductive system issues at all ages.
You know, the piece of that is the fact that when you start talking about digestion, you have to talk about what is mental clarity. See, because if you don't have mental clarity, then you don't have digestion. Because mental clarity is digestion, but it's just called comprehension. And so when you start to look at that and work with that, what you begin to find is you begin to find the factor of how are you intaking and absorbing and assimilating not only food but life. See, because when the stress comes in and they start to move those B vitamins out, and you get edgy. It's all of us, but women more so because that B12 has to do with that blood, and the rest of those B complex has to do with how it builds it. So it's about the chemistry that exchanges. So if you're mentally stressed out, and with that mental stress, what happens? What happens with that mental stress is the fact that now it translates into your organs, and the liver. And if you take the class that I have coming up, you'll see more what I'm talking about. But the liver has to do with the emotions that attract stress, depression, anger, suppression, jealousy, hatred. All of those are in that category. So the blood the liver stores blood and detoxifies it and that kind of thing. So if you have those kind of emotions going on, now you create toxicity in your blood. And
Now
so
that we're oh,
and
go
so
ahead. I'm sorry.
that toxicity can now show in your uterus in terms of endometriosis and other kinds
Fibroids.
of fibroids, you know, other kinds of vaginal imbalances. You know? And so when you look at that, you have to look at the pH balance that has to maintain in your lower body fluid, which is has a pH balance between 3.8 and 4.2, if I'm not mistaken, which is.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that acid turns alkaline, that's when other things happen, like yeast infections, because now the pH balance is off of the
You
body.
said when the acid turns alkaline.
When yeah, because of the factor that the fluid is acidic. You can look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, and so what happens is when that alkalinity can begin to um, create the imbalance. And that's one of the reasons why plain yogurt works, because what it does is it neutralizes the imbalance.
But what's a good plain yogurt to use? Because there's cow's milk in yogurt.
Well, yogurt, yeah, I don't suggest that. Yeah, I'd have to see you to tell you how to use it. Let me say that, because you're not necessarily eating it. But when you start doing that, you start to see how the balance changes. Or vinegar, which is acid when you take it, but it turns to be alkaline in the body. That's why it works such a way that it does, in all kinds of ways, and especially in digestion.
So apple cider vinegar, because I used to think about that. Like, well, if apple cider vinegar is acidic, why would we take it for our digestive system?
Because of the fact is that you know folks have come into the thoughts and processes of I don't want to say not understanding, but looking at the acid alkaline balance
Mm-hmm.
in such a way where it can create imbalances. The acid alkaline balance is a piece that's basically what keeps us alive. If you have too much acid, it's going to kill you. If you have too much alkaline, it's going to kill you. You have to create that balance. Your blood, for instance, is 7.35 on an acid alkaline balance scale. When you take your blood over 8, which is going more alkaline, what happens, and it doesn't have to happen, is the fact is that it could also cause disease. See, because at that end of the spectrum, you're also talking about things like bleach and lye. Okay, and if you put some lye on you, you're in trouble.
Right.
I mean, and so on the other spectrum, from seven down, you're talking about things that are acidic. If you look up the pH balance of fruits, okay, what you'll find that a lot of the fruits are down in the acid range. And so what has to happen is that your digestive system has to introduce them to the acid alkaline process in order for them to clean your body. Fruits are for cleansing. Vegetables are for nourishing the body. So that's why you eat them in the season. If you do that, what then begins to
So
happen is,
what's the greatest fruits in
say that again.
no, go ahead. I want you to finish that thought. I want you to finish that thought.
Oh, okay. So when you eat them in season, what they do is they create that they work within a circadian rhythm in your body. So now with that happening, now you have a functioning that has to do with the factor of how your menstrual cycle, your premenstrual cycle, all of that, menopause, all of that takes place because of the fact is that that rhythm happens. And if it's in sync with the foods that you're eating, the things that you're doing, like exercising, your blood type, what happens is that some of the things that happen to women that can be prevented. You can prevent a heart attack. You can prevent a heart attack. Why? Because of the fact is that in that prevention, you would have to change certain things in your life. And if you deal with it mentally, the first thing you have to do is find out why you're holding on to whatever you're holding on to. Because food can also change your mood. That's why you have people who say that they're a impulsive eater or eat under stress because of the balance that the body's looking for at that time. Because things are out of balance.
Well, I have to make sure that I at least address this for my ladies, and that is that that lower belly pooch.
Yeah.
A lot of my people, I've been doing a lot of videos on it because I'm trying to help my ladies. So let's talk. And before I do that, let me reset and let everybody know you can't see me because I'm having technical difficulties with my camera. So Dr. Akmal is my guest. So just look at him because he's the one with the wisdom. But let's talk about that lower body. I mean, lower belly. Why I keep saying lower body? Lower belly.
So
Fupa.
so indirectly, I've been talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't really spelled it out. When I start talking about the digestive tract, I'm also talking about your abdomen, your gut, you know, because when you start to look at the digestive tract, now you're talking about chemistry, you know, you're talking about its interaction, and you're talking about how it goes through the system. Remember, I talked about the piece of something that you just drop, boom, down into the hydrochloric acid in your stomach. Okay, so you're talking about all of that interaction and what is not able to digest winds up in your belly, in your gut. you know, and it can start to ferment and putrefy. As I said that earlier, in your abdomen, what happens then is now the the process, okay, gets to deal with the fact of creating constipation, diverticulitis, Crohn's disease, because the bowel isn't moving out in a timely manner. So now your abdomen is distended, which now in some cases it can push out to it just kind of seems like it's falling. And the piece, because with men, ours just come out and fall. But women's yours come out very gently, and then when it gets too full, then that's when it falls. And so, and piece of that is that if you begin to do different things, one of the things is you begin to eat food season. I'm always going to go back to that. But start to take digestive enzymes, probiotics. One of the things that I have women to do, and people in general, is I put you on a fast. And with the fast, that begins to shut down the digestive system. Now, if you have diabetes, we don't fast. What we do is we change the eating habit. Okay. So that what happens is you start to correct the digestive tract. When you finish with the fast or the eating habit, what then begins to happen is that now you're in a place where the body, okay, is ready to start anew. That works in a lot of cases for some women or some people. The other way to do that is, and during the fast, you're taking herbs in corresponding to organs. Okay. Like this is the summer. So the summer is nourished by the liver. So you're taking herbs for the liver. The liver is nourished by the kidneys. So you're taking herbs for the kidneys. Now, the kidneys do a kind of a dual job. They also control the activity of the heart and the small intestines, which summer is the heart and the small intestines season. And so with that happening, now is comes the piece of working to balance that. So when you take herbs for all three of those, basically, and move the bowels with no laxative, what happens is that you stop digestion. And when you go back to eating, that's when you start to take the enzymes or the digestive enzymes and the probiotics. Now, if you do none of that, okay, take the probiotics and the enzymes because they're going to begin to help to break down the foods and their chemistry. In the mouth, you have amylase. In the stomach, you have protease. In the small intestines, which you're talking about, that bulge, you have lipase and sucrase, which is fats and sugars. And so you want to be able to do that. You want to be able to eat foods in season. You can go to my website. You can download the foods for each season. You want to eat those foods because when you eat those foods, what happens is you begin to balance your life. So yeah, it's a process. Um, you take certain herbs to do certain things. Tomorrow evening I have a piece that a program coming up that's it's not weight, it's waste, which talks about reducing and eliminating weight. One of the pieces that I'll talk about is the fact of what's happening with these weight loss drugs, and the benefits, the beneficialness of their elements to cause issues or to move things into the light where you're gonna need to do something else other than that. So that's tomorrow evening, and then in September, I think it's September 7th. I haven't looked at the calendar. I have the prevention and healing of female imbalances 1 hour lecture, that talks about where and how I want to extend the knowledge that I have to women on how to take care of themselves, and also using Chinese medicine, nutrition, and a little bit of herbs to assist women in maintaining the balance of their life.
So let's say someone doesn't have the funds to purchase your herbs, or what would you suggest they do to help their liver?
So the first thing I would suggest would be, if you drink, stop drinking. Okay, just stop drinking. You know, um, which could be difficult. Which again, it goes back to the mind piece. But the first thing I would do is say stop drinking. Now, as a woman, I would say not only stop drinking if you're taking pharmaceuticals. Make sure you understand the side effects and the toxicity of the pharmaceuticals, because your liver has to synthesize that. That's the largest. Your liver is the largest um, organ for detoxification in your body, inside of your body. On the outside is the integumentary system, which is the skin, which is why we should sweat. Okay, because we're moving toxins out of the body. But the piece of that is the fact that um, when you look at the digestion, you know, you're looking at the factor of what now they're calling the leaky gut syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you're talking about cleansing the small intestines. So that means that you should be taking probiotics to create um, the bacteria that is needed in your small intestines. Because what that's going to do is that's going to help your blood. Yeah. That's and they are PBA. You know. The next thing I would suggest is the digestive enzymes, and take the digestive enzymes um, about 15 minutes before you eat, and drink them with room temperature or warmer water. Don't drink them with cold water, because that shuts the digestive system down. Yeah. Um, Make sure, look out to make sure that you don't um, eat and drink at the same time. See, because when you eat and drink at the same time, now you're doing a couple of things. One is you're watering down the enzymatic process, and the other is that you're creating an imbalance with the ability of the food to digest at the same time. So, the piece of that is don't well, I can't tell you not to, you know, but you might want to take a look and see that you're not drinking and eating at the same time. All of those kinds of things are things that you want to stay away from. You know, I wouldn't recommend any herbs or anything of that nature, because of the fact that I don't know what's going on with your body. Um, you know, a couple of things, I said, like black seed oil. That's a piece that you can research and take. There's some calcium products on the market that works well, because of the fact that your bones have to do with calcium, and your kidneys regulate that, and with your kidneys and your bones regulating that, what now is happening is the fact that now you need to balance that um, what do you call it? The kidneys with the ability to filter, okay, calcium and other debris into the bones, so that what happens is that now the bones begin to function in such a way where it maintains the value of your DNA, your stem cells, and the vitamin D to maintain the balance of your life, and especially women. And black seed oil is good for that. There are a few things that you could take as women, and I'm gonna say this, and this is not to prescribe anything to you, but as women, you might want to drink a little red raspberry, because the red raspberry can uh, can create a balance in your reproductive system. And the Chinese side of it is dong quai, uh, which it can uh, maintain the balance of your blood and invigorate it so that your body functions properly. I mean, those are the kinds of things that I would suggest that women do in order for them to be able to um, to increase their health, because of the factor that if the food that we eat now is terrible. It's just terrible. But I mean, serious terrible because of the foods that I know what food tastes like. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
ain't don't have that taste at all. And so that's why it's real critical that you understand first off your blood type, and then second, how to combine these foods and these chemistries so that they function within your body. Because when you don't understand that, that's what also causes issues. The piece of that is the factor that so the blood cells need specific elements to maintain their balance. Those elements should come from the foods extracted, nutrients into the blood through the small intestines, which means that if that happens, then the small intestines is functioning properly. If that doesn't happen, then that means that you have an issue. So now you want to put in things that's going to help it to work in a manner where digestion happens, so that you do release and eliminate the belly fat, because as you exercise, that burns it. Okay, that burns fat. You lose the instability of things like calcium, magnesium. Because when you put in calcium, you should put in magnesium, um, vitamin C, vitamin D. Definitely, they go together. And boron. And boron plays a real interesting characteristic in there, because boron is one of those minerals, vitamins, that which is classified in the B category, is for your bones and for your mental attitude. And by it being
Where do you get boron from?
huh?
Where do you get boron?
Um, 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 pineapple.
Okay.
Pineapple is good for that. And one of the pieces with pineapple is this: pineapple can also be a digestive enzyme. So what you're doing is you're using the food as medicine on two levels. You see, that's why
Mm-hmm.
if you've ever eaten a lot of pineapple, you feel it down in your small intestines, because
Yeah.
what the pineapple is doing is the enzymes are going in, and they're moving the waste out and gobbling it up, so that the factor that it can go out as bile, and help to reset the bacteria in the
Mm-hmm.
small intestines, so that now you're sending nutrients into the blood that now get absorbed into the bones. Yeah. And
Excellent.
and the
Excellent.
bones, and the bones or the kidneys also rule over the head hair, and it rules over the brain marrow. So it rules over brain marrow and bone marrow. And so when you work with your small intestines, that furnishes not only does it furnish the blood to the bones, but it also furnishes the brain with nutrients, so that, like choline, uh, um, so that what happens is that the brain functions, and vitamin K for antioxidants and fatty acids, to maintain the balance of the brain, so that the brain doesn't start to deteriorate. I mean, because the brain and the limbic system has a lot to do with the fact of how your whole body is functioning. And so you want to feed your brain something nice.
Your
And,
brain.
and so part of that would be the heart, because the heart its emotion is joy, love, and impatience. And impatience is a piece that can create instability and put energies out that have no balance. You see.
Mm.
So
So can we go to back to really quickly before we end? What does the fasting look like? I know we touched on it before, but what does the fasting look like for us this summer?
okay. So the fasting summer. This is the fasting through summer, and you get a book with it that lays stuff and things out for you. So in my program, what we do is you take 7 days to withdraw from food because you don't want to shock your body. On that eighth day, you begin to juice. Every day that you're taking something out of your eating habit, you're adding juice to the eating habit. The other part of that is this. Once you get to that eighth day, you now are drinking nothing but juices. So I never put on a person how many days they could fast. Even if you come to see me or you send me your tongue and I look at your tongue and put you on a fast. I never tell you how long to fast because then I'm all up in your head and you're now having issues. So the piece of that is that when you're fasting, you're drinking juices and you're not eating any food because of the fact is that you want to stop digestion. At the same time, what you're doing is you're allowing your body to get nutrients. So my recommendation, you don't have to do that, is also to take an enema or a colonic to pull waste out of the large intestines. Whilst you're fasting, there are certain things that you would do. One is take juice, water, and herbs. The herbs have to do with, as I said earlier, the kidneys, the liver, and the heart. So that what happens is balance is created. One of the set of herbs that goes with that is a set of herbs that balances the heart. But what it also does is it stops and reduces hot flashes because of the factor that now you're taking it and it's working in its realm of balancing the two kidneys because the right kidney is fire, the left kidney is water. And so in doing that, what happens is that begins to become balanced and fortified so that you start to move away from having hot flashes. The liver has to do with the fact of now we want to detoxify the blood. So as you begin to detoxify the blood using certain herbs, what now happens is that you see several things dissipate. Craving for sweets. Okay. And when you balance the kidneys, it'll be the reduction of craving for salt. Okay. You'll also deal with the factor of um, burnt and sour and bitter foods because of the factor that the sour foods have to deal with the liver. So you would also put in sour foods like lemons and limes, those kind of things in terms of juices, so that you can help to balance the liver. Once that happens, now you're dealing with the heart and the small intestines, which now the heart's job now is to circulate the blood that has come through the small intestines through the body. As it does that, what now happens is that now the body begins to feel first off lethargic. Why? Because of the fact that it's slowing the body down and it's pulling the toxins out. After about 3 days of fasting, the body starts to rejuvenate itself because now the waste has come out and you've put nourishment in. Once you do that, now what happens? Now what happens is that the body now begins to rejuvenate itself. So now you begin to feel more energy. As you grow with more energy, now you determine how long you want to, do the fast and keep the fast going. And when do you want to break it? When you break the fast, that is the most important part of the fast. When you break the fast, what happens is you then have to go back in the same direction that you got into the fast. So let's say that you did 7 days of fasting. What would happen is that you would then take that
Reverse engineer.
7 days of going from eating no food to eating a full meal. The first thing you would eat would be a piece of fruit, and you'd continue to drink juices. The second day, you might drink take another piece of fruit and keep drinking juices. And so until you wind up within the seventh and eighth day, you're eating a small meal, which now you haven't shocked your body in either direction. Your digestive tract now is functioning. Now you begin to see different things happening, especially if you're in the age of cycling, and especially if you're in the age of when Minna decides to pause. You'll see a great difference in your body because of the factor that now you balance and align the energies of your body and your digestive tract with the season. So that like I said, I have people who fast with me each season because of the factor that each season different set of organs. This is the season now, summer, to get ready for winter, for fall, because in the fall it's the lungs, large intestines. So now you're going more into your immune system. When you build the blood in summer, what happens is that in the fall, that blood, that enriched blood now filters through the body by the movement of you breathing, that oxygenates the blood, so that in the wintertime, the blood now is very wholesome. Okay. And it can store into the bones, into the DNA and the stem cells. So when you start fasting in that manner, what begins to happen, and when you work in concept with the season that's coming, okay, what now begins to happen is that now you stay in alignment with your body and the universe, because as a global warming is upon us, yeah, we're about to have some real serious situations. One of the things I'm saying to people is that you should save seeds of any foods that you're eating that has a seed. Save that seed, you know,
Oh,
because
thank you
in
for that.
fact, we may find ourselves needing seeds. Yeah. We have droughts, and we're in drought conditions in some places and flood conditions in others. And there may be a time when we need seeds. We also need to be able to understand herbs, and we need to understand foods and their values, because when we understand that, what happens is that now we're able to survive. When we don't understand it, we are dependent and not able to make that survival happen. So yeah, those are some of the things that I would suggest that you do in order to create balance in your body as a woman.
That's amazing. You gave us so much information. My head is spinning. You always do. But you all, Dr. Akmal again is what, 50 years of dealing with women's health?
Yeah, it's been about 30, 35. The book, one of the books that I wrote, which is the Prevention and Healing of Female Imbalance, I wrote that book in 1993. And that book talked about micronutrients, basically. And micronutrients are minerals and vitamins. and so I am in the process of updating it. But yeah, that's when I wrote that book. And the only way you can get it is through my website. It's
I
not.
have the website up,
Yeah.
drokmalspeaks.com. You all go to his website, go look at the foods that you should be eating for summer. We got about a month and a half or less before fall comes. But
Right.
Dr. Akmal joins me every other Wednesday. So in 2 weeks, he'll be back on here to discuss more. We need more because it's just so much that he offers, or so much wisdom, so much that he can do to help us, you guys, gain our balance back, lower that belly fat, and just live a happier life. And I'm so grateful that he's in my life. I followed a lot of things that he's done, that he's told me to do for my own imbalances. And I'm just grateful. So please join us. Please follow Dr. Akmal at drokmalspeaks.com. He has a plethora of information. He has a class coming up called It's Not Weight, It's Waste. And I think you'll find a lot of value just in everything that he does. On Saturdays, he has a class at 8:30 in the morning where he
It's
leads
8 o'clock.
everyone to Qigong, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
It's
You can
eight,
go to his website and get the link for that.
it's 8 o'clock
To
on.
8 o'clock, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is
Right.
his class,
Thank
his
you.
Qigong class, where he leads us through Qigong. And it says it's for seniors, but he says he doesn't check ID when you come on. So with that, Dr. Agma, just give us your last and final words before we sign off.
So the piece of that is this is the piece of it. Your journey, that's called life, moves you through different circumstances and situations. And sometimes it's situation. And as you move through life, look for your balance. Don't look for nobody else's balance. Look for your balance. See, because if you can understand your balance, then you can understand peace. Because when you walk in the line of peace, it'll bring about harmony. And harmony is going to give you the rhythm, and what I talked about, the circadian rhythm, to be able to function in such a way where you can bring tranquility into your life. Because if you bring tranquility into life, that means you don't be stressed out. You bring tranquility into your life, and it supports your growth of love. See? And so, if that's the case, then that means that you will now connect your mind, body, spirit. You will understand what it is that you're putting in your mouth and your feet and your body, and how it balances so that you maintain your health. Be well, enjoy your life as you peacefully walk in health. Mutuka.
Thank you, Dr. Agma. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great rest of the week. We'll see you in 2 weeks with Dr. Agma Speaks.
Absolutely.